Greetings, friends. Today I'm going to tell you a story about a strong daughter, a stubborn father, and a chance encounter that will change the course of their lives forever. So let's begin. You think you're the smartest one? Trying to tell me how to run my business after all these years? Anna wasn't backing down. That's right, all these years. And you've been doing it the same way for 20 years now. Dad, it's a different century. You need to change and adapt to actually make a real profit. Because you've been stuck in the same rut for so long, you can't even give your employees a raise. Anna, I'm telling you again, mind your own business. The workers don't deserve a raise. Just look at how lazy they are. Defective products everywhere. Anna jumped up. Arguing with her father was always tough. She'd tried to have this conversation many times before. Of course, because the only people willing to work for such low pay are those no one else will hire. What good, responsible worker would take a job with wages like that? Archibald slammed his fist on the table. That's it. I made a huge mistake letting you work at my factory. Anna wearily replied, I can leave. It's just not interesting to work somewhere with no prospects. No prospects at my company? What are you talking about? I have a multi-million-dollar revenue stream. So what? If you did things properly, it would be profit, not just revenue. Are you short on cash? Archibald squinted. What does that have to do with anything? You need to expand, not stand still. And you're one to talk to me about that. At least work like I did. I started out as a janitor, you know. Archibald turned away from his daughter, offended. He expected her to apologize and hug him, but Anna stood her ground. Maybe I should become a janitor too, so you'll finally listen to me? What, did I waste 6 years of my life getting a degree, doing an overseas internship, graduating with honors? I guess that's all worthless if I didn't start as a custodian. Archibald got really angry now. Yes, Anna, that's exactly what I think. Don't like it? Tough. You want me to listen to your nonsense ideas? Go work as a janitor for at least a month and then I'll consider it. It's easy to try and change something that already exists. Why don't you start from scratch instead? Anna's eyes flashed. She was just like her father sometimes. Her mom, when she was still alive, always used to laugh about it. You know, I used to think you were the most stubborn one, Dad, but now I don't even know which of you two is the bigger jackass. She slammed her own fist on the table. You've got a deal, Dad. I'll let you know tomorrow where I get a janitor job. Anna stormed out of the office, slamming the door loudly behind her. Archibald flinched, then glanced guiltily at the photo of his late wife on his desk. Linda, you see, it's not my fault. She's just as stubborn as me. The man sighed. He understood his daughter was largely right, and he was even glad she understood his business so well, but he just couldn't admit he was wrong. How could he confess that this whole argument was really just because of his own stubbornness? She's young and hot-headed. She'll cool off eventually and things will go back to normal. But I probably do need to think about raising wages. He'd been having increasing product defects lately. He poked his head out to his secretary. Olivia, get all the production managers and the CFO in here. He went back and sat down. Yeah, I have been operating like it's still the 90s around here. Time to make some gradual changes, I suppose. Archibald reached for his phone to call his daughter, but then put it back down. And give her the satisfaction? I'm the father. I'm older. That automatically means I'm right, doesn't it? Before he could ponder that further, there was a knock at the door. Anna smacked the steering wheel in frustration. Well, how can I get it through Dad's thick skull that he's wrong? She pulled over near some office building. She knew her tendency. Whenever she got angry or upset, she immediately wanted to floor the gas pedal and make the car skid out of control. But she resisted. She didn't allow herself to do that because her mom had been killed by a reckless hothead driver just like that. He got into an argument with his wife, went for an angry joyride, couldn't see straight from rage, and failed to brake in time. Anna got out, took several deep breaths, and froze. Right in front of her was a sign saying the office needed a temporary janitor to cover some vacations. The anger melted away instantly. Anna smiled, got back into her car, and pulled around the corner. She looked at herself in the rearview mirror. Okay, got to adjust my look a bit. She pulled her luxurious hair back into a bun, took off all her jewelry, and looked at her hands. Yeah, no hiding the manicure. But then again, she wasn't coming in from a dive bar either. People took care of themselves nowadays. She could always say she was still in school and this was just a side job. Satisfied, Anna headed into the office building. Hi there. I saw you were looking for a temporary janitor. The receptionist gave her a once-over. Are you sure you want to work as a janitor? Yeah, no better options for me right now while I take evening classes. The woman's eyes warmed. Ah, I see, wanting to support yourself. Got it. 10 minutes later, Anna was being shown her duties. Mopping floors, keeping the plants dusted, taking out the trash cans and recycling bins. Pretty straightforward. Dirt and grime, she could handle that. So, you're not going to quit on me, are you? Nope, no way. When can I start? Tomorrow at 8 a.m. You need to have the boss's office and the people who come in at 9 all cleaned up before then. He hates having staff underfoot while he's working. Got it, I understand. That evening, Anna and her dad barely spoke. He tried to start a conversation, but she gave him the cold shoulder. The next morning, as she was tying her shoes, her dad poked his head out of the bathroom. Where are you going so early? To work, Daddy. I'm going to be a janitor for a month, so you'll finally listen to me. Oh, Anna, don't be ridiculous. She turned and walked out without a word. Archibald shook his head. Sometimes he was proud of how similar his daughter was to him. Other times he just wanted to cry at her stubbornness. Anna worked the first week without much fanfare. No one bothered her. Everyone was busy with their own tasks. She saw the boss a couple times. He was always working and paid her no attention. She learned the boss was actually quite young. His father had fallen ill, so Paul took over running the company. People seemed to speak well of him, saying he didn't understand everything yet, but was consulting experts and learning quickly. Anna was mopping Paul's office floor when the door opened. She instinctively glanced at her watch, 8:30 a.m. Who was coming in at this hour? It was Paul, and he looked at her in surprise. Oh, hello there. Who are you? Anna couldn't help but smile. What? You can't tell? I'm the janitor here. She sang out the last few words in an exaggerated rural accent. Paul laughed. Well, yes, I can see you're cleaning, but I don't recall seeing you around before. You were just too busy to notice me before, that's all. Paul walked over to his desk and sat down. Anna glanced at him inquisitively. Should I finish up and leave you be? No, please go ahead and don't mind me. He started going through some papers. After a few minutes, he swore under his breath. Who came up with this nonsense? Anna, who was dusting, glanced over at his mess of documents and paperwork. Well, if you don't use proper reporting, how can you track if everything is going smoothly? Paul looked at her with an amused expression. You know something about this stuff? She shrugged. A little. I've never seen a janitor who could advise management before. His patronizing tone rubbed Anna the wrong way. What, just because someone is a janitor, that automatically means they must be stupid? Paul was openly entertained now. Well, I'd think any reasonably intelligent person, let alone an educated one, wouldn't choose that as their career. You know, Anna thought so too, but her innate stubbornness was overriding her common sense again. I can definitely tell you that you're mistaken about that. She gathered her supplies and headed for the door. Paul watched her go with a smile. God, he hated these ditzy girls who just assumed everything should be handed to them for being pretty. And this one was more of the same. All swagger and no brains. He leaned back in his chair. Although great ass on that one. If she wasn't pulling this silly stunt, I could probably trick her into bed. Just for a couple nights' fun. Or maybe I should take her down a peg first. Prove to her she's just a dumb broad. Then she'll probably throw herself at me, trying to prove she's worth something. Today, Paul had a major negotiation ahead. He was planning to back out of a deal, but he couldn't put his finger on what exactly was rubbing him the wrong way about it. He trusted his instincts, though. Something was definitely off. He'd read through the contract at least 5 or 10 times, but couldn't find anything specifically wrong. He decided not to sign anything with this gut feeling. It wasn't worth it. He'd just find other partners. But first he'd call that sassy janitor in and let her try to figure it out. She'd never be an actual business partner, so he could have some fun messing with her. Right before the meeting was scheduled to begin, Paul found Anna. Well, hello there, most brilliant janitor in the world. Anna laughed. Oh, great, more creative insults. I'm shaking. Paul's eyes narrowed. Actually, I do need your perspective on something legitimate. Would you sit in on a negotiation with me today? I'm supposed to finalize a big contract. Maybe you'll catch something I'm missing. You folks really let the janitors advise on business deals on your farm? He chuckled. First time, honestly. Gotta try new things sometimes. Who knows? Maybe you mops and buckets types are smarter than us bosses nowadays. Anna shrugged. Sure, why not? Paul kept glancing over at her in disbelief as they waited for his guests to arrive. Without her uniform on, Anna looked like anything but a janitor. That same gut feeling was eating at him about this deal, like he was being misled somehow, but he couldn't see where exactly. The potential partners droned on about their years of market experience, trying to justify their premium pricing and make it all sound legitimate. On impulse, Paul slid the contract over to Anna. Take a look at this for me. His visitors shifted nervously. I'm sorry, but who is this exactly? My advisor, don't worry about it. She's just going to review this and then we'll proceed. Anna read through it carefully. Then she smiled, flipped back to the first page, skimmed it again, and looked up. If I may ask, why are transportation costs included in our fee structure? Paul raised his eyebrows in surprise. The guests fidgeted. No, that can't be right. It must be some mistake. Well, a mistake can happen once, but your entire contract seems to be built around that pricing. Anna's eyes narrowed. And another question. I see you have a long working relationship with Archibald Keppel's company? Yes, we've been productive partners with him for many years now. Everyone in this city is familiar with Keppel. Of course, which is exactly why I can tell you there's no way your firm could actually be affiliated with his. I would know. Anna stood up and handed the documents back to Paul. If you don't need me further, I'll take my leave. He could only nod dumbly as she departed. Only after she left did it finally click what was amiss. Of course, the obvious answer was staring him in the face the whole time. Paul burst out of his office as soon as he got rid of the con artists, not even waiting for them to fully exit before showing them the door quite brusquely. He was in a rush to find Anna and talk to her properly now. That urge to seduce her into a casual fling was still there, but it had definitely changed in nature. Now he wanted more than just a roll in the hay. He actually wanted to know this woman. Anna must have stepped out just a moment ago. She turned that corner over there. Paul dashed outside and rounded the corner, only to stop dead in his tracks. Anna was just getting into a luxury car easily on par with his own. Well, I suppose we should have an actual conversation then, Miss Upper-Class Janitor with an eye for bad contracts. Anna sighed and got back out of her vehicle. So, what was the point of all this? I just needed to work one measly month as a maid, that's all. Paul grinned. Well, now I definitely won't leave you alone. There's a nice cafe not too far away. I insist on buying you a coffee so we can chat. Archibald looked on bewildered as his daughter stood before him in a wedding gown. When did you grow up into such a beautiful young woman, sweetheart? Anna laughed and hugged him. What do you mean, Dad? I'm practically an old maid already at 25. He sighed deeply. And why exactly did you have to go and be a janitor for all that? We could have just lived together happily. He paused, then smiled. Actually, now that I think about it, I won't have to argue with just you anymore. It'll be you and Paul going forward. My nerves can finally get a break. Anna burst out laughing. Yeah, nice try, Dad. Like I won't be able to handle going a few rounds with both you stubborn mules. Her father joined in the laughter. My future son-in-law doesn't stand a chance, does he? If you enjoyed this story, please support me by giving it a thumbs up. It's just one click for you, but it means a lot to me. Thank you.